It's a really pleasure to me to talk to you. And the first thing I would like to know is if you are aware of the expectation that there is in the global audience about this fifth season, and especially now after the death of Queen Elizabeth II.
Well, I think especially, as you say, after the death of the Queen, that there is a huge expectancy for the audience about what they're going to see and how the Queen is portrayed. Of course, we finished making season 5 about 6 months before the Queen died, so there is nothing changed, and there's nothing that should or could be changed. And season 6, our attitude to the royal family has not changed. But I think people will. Season 5 is there's a lot of drama for the royal family. They had a lot of problems, and I think it's an opportunity for the audience to discover a bit more about the royal family's emotional life, the behind the scenes. And it was a time when the Queen, I think, I speak for you, was more open about her problems, and the speech she made, saying what a terrible year it had been for her, which she never normally would do. So it's, I think it's going to be a very exciting season for people to see.
Jonathan and Imelda, can you share with us how you, as an actor, work to take your minds off the performances that existed before of these two great characters, and at the same time continue the legacy? In the case of Imelda, Claire Foy and Olivia Colman, and in the case of Jonathan, what Matt Smith and Tobias Menzies did.
Well, it's funny because as Jonathan and I have done a lot of theatre, and we have played characters that many people have played before. So you're aware of them and you might have seen them, and then you have to just push them to the side and go back to the original story or character. And of course, we'd both watched The Crown from the beginning, but then you say, well, I can't look at their performances, I have to look at the real person and start from there. So in a way, that's what I had to do.
I think it's very much the nature of the beast, is that each actor portrays their version of Philip or the Queen or whoever. And I didn't feel any responsibility about thinking back to how Tobias had played him, because I was now in a different phase of Philip's life. I'm playing someone who's my own age and had similar sensibilities to life. So, and it's true, as Imelda says, classical theatre, you don't think, oh my God, somebody's played King Lear before me. How did they do it? In fact, you do the opposite. You don't look back. And I didn't look back at previous seasons before we started on this, but as good as they were.
The royal family is in genuine crisis.
It's pretty good work on The Crown, on the accents of the Queen and the people around her. Was that a challenge for you? Any particular pronunciation word that you were not used to?
Well, it is like an accent, and again, with many jobs and theatre jobs, whatever, you do American accent, an Irish accent. You have to get your ear in tune, and it took me a good long while. And the wonderful dialect coach, voice coach, William Conacher, he played me the Queen when she was 21. He said, and this was in 2019, he said, just listen to that, because that's sort of the beginning of her voice. You will not be speaking like that, but you need to have it in your muscle memory. So I would just listen to that over and over again and just let it sink down into the bottom. Then you start building the voice of someone who's 30, 35, 40, 50, 60, so, and that was really interesting to do that.
In light of the events of the last 12 months, perhaps I have more to reflect on than most.
Yeah, and first I've got to congratulate you on your correct pronunciation of the word pronunciation,
Yeah.
A lot of British people say pronunciation. That's wrong.
Okay, thank you so much.
And well, for Philip, I'm Welsh, and Philip was Greek, and we both had to find an English accent. And I've got that kind of security in that his is a learnt accent as well. But it's a daily. You have to be reminded daily, don't you, about that you don't slip up and make the wrong vowel sound.
And we have someone on the set every day. So you could do a speech and then we stop and then he comes in and says, that word, that word, that word. So you have to make an adjustment.
And there's also those other little things you have to be aware of. And when Imelda and I started filming, one of the first things we had was a lunch scene. We were eating a meal together and the waiters, the servants, put the food down. And we both looked up and said, thank you. And the guy comes over and said, no. They never say thank you. Oh, okay. And what would I do to this person over here? You'd ignore him. Really? Absolutely. So that's a wonderful thing to learn. It's also a wonderful thing to act because it makes for great economy that you don't have to do too much.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. And thank you for your time for the audience in Colombia and Latin America.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It feels it's all about to erupt.